Hello everybody. Welcome to our Instagram Live tonight. I am just going to get Ali to link in as soon as she logs in, and it shouldn't be too much longer. Hello!
Hi.
Welcome. Okay, so welcome everybody to the actual start of the event now. My name is Lauren. I am going to be your host tonight. So whether you are here to learn how to do calligraphy a little bit, whether you're here to be awed by Ali's amazing calligraphy, or whether you're here to laugh at me attempting to do calligraphy, welcome. We're really glad to have you guys all here. Like I mentioned before, my name is Lauren. I am a 2014 Griffith Film School alumni. I run a company called Tide Productions. We do film, photography and animation. And apparently I talk and improvise enough that Griffith has asked me to come and host another one of these. So I am here tonight with the fabulous Ali from Creative Inking. I'll do a little bio on you, Ali. So with arts and crafts running through her blood, Ali has a fantastic career as an accounts manager, and she has also turned her passion for calligraphy and beautiful writing into a business where they supply wedding, you can jump in with other things that you do, Ali, but wedding things and I've got them written down, place cards and corporate work and certificates and heaps more. And she's also worked for some really cool brands like Jo Malone, which is amazing. Ali is here tonight to share her love of calligraphy and also to try and teach us some tips and tricks. So without further ado, I will hand the microphone over to you and we can get rolling.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, and thanks to Griffith for having me here. So yeah, I have been doing calligraphy for close to 2 years now. I've always done crafty type things ever since I can remember. I've done a lot of picture framing in the past. I've always made greeting cards, always been looking for a creative outlet. I did design studies through Griffith University and travelled the world, did a few other things, ended up back in Australia and somehow landed in the accounting world. I don't know how that happened. And ever since I've been doing that, I quite enjoy accounting and the technical side of it, but I've always needed that creative outlet. And then I found calligraphy, and for me, it combines a lot of the technical side of things, but also a creative outlet that's got a lot of use and a lot of purpose, rather than just my little greeting cards that I would make one-off, which I still do. This has a more practical outlet. And today I just want to give you a bit of an introduction about the different sort of tools, how you can use it, and even some basic calligraphy that you could do at home using ordinary pens and pencils. So you don't need a lot to get started.
I have a jar. I'm ready. I have pen, and I have a calligraphy pen. Well, an outline pen, I think. Tish says yay for accountants. Lots of yay for accountants.
So I'll give you a bit of a rundown on some of the tools, and then I'll show you how to use some of them. So if we start how traditional calligraphy, you can have all sorts of calligraphy like Japanese, Chinese, Asian styles that are using actual paint brushes and ink.
Dave, there is paintbrush calligraphy.
Yeah, paintbrush calligraphy, real paintbrushes. And then you get more to your, I guess, Western style where you're using copper plate calligraphy, which is, I don't know, maybe the 1800s, can't remember. But you're talking about things like, I'm hoping everyone can see this. This is an actual nib on a oblique holder. And so a nib here that you dip into ink, and when you push down on it, hopefully this is, you can kind of see on my thumb there, those little tines separate and you end up getting the effect of a brush, if you like, where it gets thicker as you push down on it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that does the, like, things like that.
Yes, so when you push down, you get more ink flowing out of the pen. You're having to constantly dip it to refill your ink. It doesn't have a reservoir. The sort of calligraphy kits you'll see in, I think, Kmart, those sorts of places, you'll get a calligraphy kit. They're all, most of the time, a broad edge nib, which is like a fountain pen. and you will only get one thickness, and it's for doing more of a Gothic style or foundational calligraphy rather than pointed pen modern calligraphy, which is what most people associate nowadays with Instagram and those sorts of videos that you see going around. So this sort of pen creates calligraphy that is more, a lot finer. So I don't know, hopefully that's, is it back to front?
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
So it's a lot finer.
I mean, maybe it's different for me. It's
in here. I don't know if I can, maybe I can flip.
No, that'll flip it too.
That's living room. So you get a lot finer detail using something like this. But for some people go straight to using this. I think for beginners, it's a lot easier to learn the basics of calligraphy using a brush pen like this, because you don't have to worry about ink spilling, how often you need to dip, those sorts of things. And then you can, yes, that's what you've got, what you should have.
I'm ready.
And you'll be able to create things more like this if it was facing the right way. So it's not quite as fine, but you can get a lot more colours. You can still do a lot of beautiful things with brush pens, and a lot of calligraphers stay using just brush pens. I like because they're portable. When you've got children, they're not going to knock over the ink. You can take it to a
the pens pulled up before that. I don't even know how to describe what it looked like. How do you put ink? Do you dip that into ink, or do you add it in?
You dip the ink into this.
So you would need
here. So just have a small jar or like this.
Okay.
So I dip into, and
how
it holds.
Dunk, dip.
Each nib is different, and each sort of ink is different, and how big you're writing. But I don't know, every word or two you would need to dip, and you get used to it. It just becomes part of the flow. But like I said, when you start out, I recommend brush pens. So if I show you a brush pen, hold it up here. It's got sort of a chisel tip on it, you'll see. And the difference with a brush pen versus a bullet tip pen, or most pens that you will buy, is it's flexible at the top. It is like a tiny little brush. So when you push up and down on it, you will get variations in the thickness of your stroke. And calligraphy is all about the thickness of your stroke. So I'm going to switch, I think, my camera around now and show you from above me doing some, and what I'm talking about. Hopefully it shows as the right way round once I flip this for you.
Sure.
Just a moment.
I can distract our viewers.
Oh. Oh, there we go. So it is round the right way. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. More, I guess, skinnier writing. You can get fine lines, whereas this is what we're getting with the brush pen.
Okay.
A little bit thick.
I prefer the other one, the skinny one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I guess it would be a taste, right? Like almost all of these.
Yeah, totally. And what tool is better for the job that you're working on? Okay. So that's another thing I'll get to when I show you how to replicate this sort of brush pen, and the sort of uses that you can get, and why you would have different tools for different jobs. So if I move on into explaining when I talk about calligraphy and the pressure. So all calligraphy is really based on some basic strokes. So once you understand that down strokes are quite thick, up strokes are nice and light, that is the sort of foundation of calligraphy. And in my workshops, everywhere online, you can do all sorts of classes online that will explain your basic strokes. So I don't want to go into it too much now because we've got a short space of time.
I've fallen down, and then there's a point where I need to turn to go up really lightly. Is the turn the turn thin? Like, where do I release pressure?
Well, this is different for each stroke, or each letter is going to be slightly different. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the basic strokes. So hard down, light up, and then you'll have turns like this. So you're going light up, hard down, and same if you're doing the opposite, hard down and light up. So I think from what I can see in your video, you might be holding your pen quite upright like this.
Okay.
The change in thinking where you're holding your pen a lot more on the side, because you're using the side of your nib here rather than the tip of your nib. If you use the tip of the nib, you can't get the same sort of thickness, and you'll also wear out the tip of the nib a lot faster. So what you're getting is this side of the pen, and as you lift up, you're getting more of the tip of the pen. So it looks like you're getting two different gradients, which is good. So yes, and so you've got more of a V, which is fine. Like at the moment,
those at home are attempting this, please document your progress and like tag Griffith alumni in it, because we really want to see the good ones and also the hashtag fails, please. I think that would be fantastic.
Everyone's going to fail. So
has said, so downstrokes should be thicker than upstrokes, but we just talked about it depends on the lettering and stuff. So some of the ones she's done down thick.
Downstrokes are always going to be thick. Upstrokes are always going to be.
My mistake. Okay, I'm not. Okay, downstrokes.
And so there's I think 6 to 8 different basic strokes depending on who you learn through. So I'm going down, coming back up, and it's light. So this is your compound curve, down and up. Circles.
Straight on thing again, okay.
Yeah.
Light.
So it's you need to try to think of it more as drawing your letters rather than writing. It's totally different to your handwriting. So you can have terrible handwriting. Yes, beautiful.
Hey!
You can have terrible handwriting and do beautiful calligraphy, and vice versa. I mean, calligraphy is all about practice, 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 and getting the muscle memory down. So,
or I'm proud of viewers at home.
Excellent. And so once you've got your basic strokes, sort of, you're never a master, I don't think. You can always practice. But once you kind of understand those basic strokes, you can start putting them together into letters. I'm just kind of demonstrating on the screen. So we've got some underturns.
Oh, I missed the underturn on it.
So think of this might be the bottom of your J's.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're really learning and practicing, you try not to think about creating an A, because you automatically just go to your handwriting. You need to think about it as your basic strokes being combined. So if I now move on to an A, we've got a circle followed by a underturn.
Oh, I stopped looking. I'm going to give that another go.
Oh, I just saw someone saying they've got a normal blue pen and it's working. So that's what I'm going to get onto in a minute, showing how you use a normal blue pen and a pencil to do this style of writing, because I don't know how many people are going to have a pen like this at home ready to go, but I just wanted to explain what we're trying to achieve with your regular pen and pencils.
I have a question. Pressure. I don't want to put lots of pressure down, do I? Because I'll wreck the pen. It's just about...
these pens, this is my favourite. So it's a Pentel touch pen, and you can get these from Officeworks. They're $3.10, $3.50, something like that for a pen. And they now come in about 20 or more colours, and they're so cheap that, yes, while you're learning, you will probably ruin the tips, and you'll know that they're ruined because they start fraying and you'll get sort of fuzzy edges on your lines, but they're so cheap that it doesn't matter while you're learning. So don't worry too much. The other thing to try to do to protect your nibs is the sort of paper that you use. The smoother the paper, the better it is on your pens. So this paper I'm using right now is Rhodia, which you can get at Officeworks. While you're starting off, just normal printer paper is fine.
So we've had someone, Ashley, write in and say, any tips for left-handers?
Well, I am not left-hander, but there are definitely quite a few calligraphers who are, and it is, from what I gather, a lot of trial and error on trying to get the right angle for you. So, for example, if we look at this calligraphy style, instead of having an oblique here with the flange coming out the side, which is what right hands normally use to get a good angle, you would have a pen holder with the nib coming straight out the top, and you won't have such a strange angle. And then you learn to, I don't know, I think they typically write quite straight from the top of the page towards themselves, rather than the way we do it, which is this way. So they're working sort of almost upside down. I don't know. I don't know that helps so much, but calligraphy for lefties, I think, is a lot more trial and error.
Okay.
But it can be done.
Kirk, let us see what it's like. For those of us who would like to feel quite accomplished after this, do you have a word that you could teach us how to write?
Yes.
At the moment...
Yeah, let's go on, and we will switch to a pencil.
Oh, okay.
Or you can stick with your pressure pen, your brush pen, if you're comfortable with that. So again, with a pencil, you can do exactly the same process of, sorry, all the comments pop up across the top of where I'm trying to write. Hard to
if you click on them, they disappear to the lower. If you just tap on them.
So we're going quite light, and with my pencil, I'm just putting a little bit more pressure, and it's probably not as obvious with a pencil, the thickness that I'm getting there. And I think some people say a sharp pencil, but I think a blunt pencil actually works better. You've got a quite light, and then I've got a bit more pressure, and I'm still getting that thick downstroke. And a nice light up. Does that come through on the...
It looks beautiful. Is that a pencil?
So that's just a regular pencil. Well, not a regular pencil, but it could be. And then if you're still struggling to get those pressures up and down, so let's go with the word Griffith, for example. We write the word Griffith.
I'm going to use Griffith because pencils just look like micros, like worse than my normal handwriting. Griffith.
I've got to say, this is not my best calligraphy either. When you're sitting in an odd angle.
Oh, lower G. Okay.
Either way. So then what you can do is come through and add in an extra thickness to your downstrokes. So where you would have had a downstroke that a brush pen would sort of do with your pressure, you want to add those thicknesses onto your writing. So this is how you can use any pen to replicate that sort of...
I'm a bit artistic, and I really thought this was going to be one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm not very good at it, but actually I really am a bit good at it. But I'm really...
Amazing.
No, it's really hard. I'm attempting to learn a new skill. They're all quite thick, and then I think it's a lot about the angling of the letters that I'm struggling with. Just swap to a blunt pencil, so much better. Maybe I need a blunt pencil.
The blunt pencil is, for me, I think a lot easier.
Blunt and
kind of hanging over the edge here. So now I'm going to switch to a pen and do the same. So let's go with love, because everyone loves love.
I want to know how to do an L because I want to write my name. Okay.
So when it's like this, you would just call it monoline lettering, which I do quite like doing without sort of adding your downstrokes. And certain pens, like a glass pen, I didn't bring one of those to demonstrate, but I should have brought one up. But you can just Google a glass pen. They're beautiful, and they've got sort of a spiral tip. You dip them in the ink sucks up through the spiral of the glass, and they look beautiful with monoline lettering. But in this case, we're doing it with a biro. So again, you can start to thicken the downstrokes here.
I agree. It's also about the fluidity that your letters take on. Mine look quite, again, I think it's just practice. Mine look quite forced. Like the wave on your L just sort of floats in, whereas mine looks like that is not what yours look. I can do this.
Yeah, there is a lot about your own style, and it takes time to work out your style. You can certainly be inspired by Instagram posts. Pinterest is great. You just can claim, obviously, tracing over something and saying it's yours. But it is a great place to start. And then you'll see an L that somebody does, and I really love the way they do that L, and you'll incorporate it into your style. And after a while, you'll find you'll just end up with a default style.
Okay, so I guess obviously. I had a question that flew out of my brain. Going over the top. So I did this love, which I'm moderately proud of, but then the L wasn't thick enough for me. Is that forbidden in calligraphy? Like, does it have to be those same strokes, or can you sort of like color in your own lettering?
You can color in your own lettering. No one's going to know.
That's so true. Okay.
Rules. I mean, there are rules, but nobody's going to know if you color in after. Like, this is what we call, I guess, faux calligraphy. So we're, making it look like calligraphy by using a normal tool. And you can use things like Sharpies, chalkboard markers, if you were doing a mirror or something that needed to be permanent, but you can only get a Sharpie. Well, Sharpies, I think you actually can get some Sharpies as brush pens now, but it's only a bullet tip. So that's when you would need to use this method of doing faux calligraphy, because you can't get those thin and thick downstrokes.
Okay. All right. So for those of just we are learning how to do calligraphy. Oh, you've got colours out now. My goodness.
Just using a regular Sharpie. So, gift tags or
so we've had for across strokes, which I assume is like F's and T's. They're usually thicker or thinner.
Thin. So everything down is thick, everything up is thin, and anything across is thin.
Anything across
is
up,
thin,
and down is thick. Okay, I've not done this right. Doing it.
Someone has just asked if we can do some Gothic style. I do not know how to do Gothic style, I'm sorry. And there's different sorts of pens that you would use, like I was saying before, broad edge nibs, and you can get pens more like this with a broad nib on them, but it's not something I have practiced doing, so I can't show you that.
Something that I have not realized, like when you learn to write as a child, writing, I don't know if you guys struggle with this at home, but I would always write not in a straight line, or I would go up, or I would go down, and I'm paying so much attention to trying to write curved all the way down. So amazing. Well, we are coming to the end of it. Do you have any like life hack, fantastic last tips? My goodness, that looks beautiful. I'm going to do happy.
I guess my last calligraphy hack would be buy a few different pens, different sizes, and different brands. They're fairly cheap. Try a few, and then over time you'll work out which one works best for you in what size, and just kind of have fun and practice. There's loads of resources online, and I hope this has helped a few people with their calligraphy journey.
This is so fun. Wrote happy.
Beautiful. I'm very proud of the first session.
A bunch, and then I'm going to send you my good one. Okay, that looks amazing. That looks absolutely amazing. Do you guys have any last questions before we sign off today? Audience participation?
I think I've frozen on the screen.
Yeah, it's just doing a little like circle of waiting. There we go. Nothing, no questions. Amazing. Everybody is calligraphy professionals. So guys, like we mentioned earlier, if you have done any work in this today and you want to share your scribbles or your fantastic calligraphy, we would really, really love to see it. You can, I guess, tag the alumni Instagram page, or you can hashtag the Instagram page. I don't know. We have a group of calligraphers meeting once a month in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Get taught by various hands. Can let you know if you're interested. Oh, that's the other thing I should definitely mention is that Ali does, God, I wrote it down. Where is it? Goodness. Ali, talk about your fantastic class.
I have some workshops that I do down at Burley's Studio. If you head to my page, I do put information about it there, or you can go to burleystudio.com to look. Feel free to send me any messages that we haven't been able to answer here via Instagram, and I will get back to you.
Amazing. Oh, did we miss them? What were we talking about? Yeah, so the workshops sound amazing. Do you do workshops? Yes, answered. Where do you buy pens? That was already answered, and the answer was Officeworks.
Officeworks.
I would find
that Officeworks.
Is calligraphy always on a slant?
Traditional copper plate is on a 55-degree slant, and that's what I sort of naturally now go to. You can change that with modern calligraphy, and you can go upright, but most of the time you will find it is on some degree of a slant, yes.
I like to do professional calligraphy. Will you please suggest anything or guide me? I don't really know how to answer that right now. Maybe we'll just message you later. A couple of questions. Yeah. Are there any groups you can join? Yes. I'm a uni student. Cool. Okay, well, guys, look, I hope that you really, really enjoyed our workshop today. I had a blast. I've learned that this is not my calling, but look, it's a good hobby, and I hope that some of you took some notes away that will help you get really into it. Thank you so much, Ali. This was really fun and super educational, so I really enjoyed myself.
You did an amazing job, and thanks so much for having me too.
If you guys have other questions, message us. I guess we'll post this, and then you can write underneath it or do whatever. Just send the alumni page a message. I hope that you've enjoyed this takeover. We have had an absolute blast. So check out Creative Inking if you need to, just be inspired by my beautiful calligraphy. I've written it down for more of Ali's calligraphy and also her upcoming workshops. So thank you, and have a really good night.
Thank you. Good night.